Okay guys, so what we're looking at here, well obviously this is the Parasite Pool main website page, right? So let's just do a really quick walkthrough. So along the top, we've got the last 15 or most recent Bitcoin blocks to be mined. You've got the block height, how many minutes ago, the pool name, and also here, this really little helpful thing, which is showing you basically how much work that Parasite Pool have contributed towards that block, right? Now, if we hit the expand little plus sign here, we're going to get some more details. So you're going to get the number of transactions with the average fee rate, right? So sats per virtual byte, obviously mining pool name there. And again, how much work Parasite has actually contributed to that block. Now you can see mining in progress, block 942167. We can see the highest difficulty since the last block. Now this is the highest difficulty that a worker from Parasite Pool has submitted, right? Relatively high. I think network difficulty right now, well, it says here 134 trillion is the minimum needed, right? So someone's got a really, really high score there. Average days to find another block, 152 days. As we covered in the previous episode, that's likely to be quite a little bit less, but you'll see, right? Last block found, 938713. We also covered that in the previous episode. All uptime, 338 days, so almost a calendar year. Bitcoin price at the moment. Got Parasite there. The pool hash rate, so at the moment it's around 44 petahash. You've got the historical hash rate on a slider-based system here. So you can contract and expand that as you so wish, right? And you've also got, really helpful, 1 hour average, 1 day average, and 7 day average. So if we zoom to today's date recording March 25th, 1 hour average, 50 petahash, 1 day average, 51.3, 7 day average, 70. Petahash. And if we just scroll out again, so what we can see here is basically the hash rate since, I think, going back to 23rd of February. Now, we had massive spike in hash rate at the end of February when that block was found, right? And it seems to kind of calm down then. So yeah, averaging out right now around 44 petahash. Okay, you've got the 1 day, 6 day, and the 9 day there. You've also got users and workers. This is really good. It's so transparent, guys. One of the things I love about Parasite Pool, right? It's got all the users here, excuse me, and then the workers on this side. The white line is the amount of users, and the grey line is the workers for those users. Well, right, and again, we've got slider-based toggle. You can expand and contract it as you so wish, right? So that's going to give you the last few. Going back to the 22nd. Okay, I really love this. Again, so transparent, just as this is. So this is the leaderboard here for these Bitcoin addresses that have workers attached to Parasite Pool. That's the leaderboard since the last block. Okay, you've also got a loyalty score and the all-time. Well, right. And then if we scroll down, we've got top difficulties achieved since last block, 51.9 trillion, which would have been the one we covered there. And then you've got all time as well, right? So that one is obviously the worker that hit that block, which was, as we said, 938713. And literally, as we're speaking, look, that's really handy, right? So this is just updated. So block 942167 has just been mined by Ampool, 3,543 transactions with an average fee rate of sats per VBAR. Okay, so it's pretty cool. And then we've got top loyalty. So again, since last block, and all time as well, right? And interestingly enough, you kind of work out that if you got 144 blocks, on average produced today by the Bitcoin network, right? And there's 365 days in a year, that's 52,000 blocks. And we know the pool uptime is 338 days, excuse me. So these miners here at this address have pretty much been all since inception, right? So hence that's why they're at the top of the list, right? Okay, so that was the main dashboard page for Parasite Pool. Next up, we're going to have a look in a little bit more detail at Parasite Pool's block construction template. Okay guys, so next up we're looking at Parasite Pool's block template construction page, right? Which, it must be said from the start, is something that most mining pools never make available, right? And is never transparent. So this is a big plus and a massive thumbs up from my point of view for Parasite Pool. It's just so rare to get this, and it really gives you obviously that sense that they're trying to be as transparent as they possibly can be, which goes back to what we said in part one of this video series, which is like, obviously, mining pool decentralization. There's only a couple of pools that are really pushing, for that or towards that right now, which is Parasite Ocean, maybe CK Pool, possibly Brains as well. But I think it's a fair comment to say Parasite is leading the way with making items like this transparent. So yeah, let's have a scroll down this page. So what we're looking at is the live block template that Parasite Pool is serving to its miners, right? So this is essentially the blueprint for the next Bitcoin block that could be found by Parasite. So it's the exact data that the miners will hash like billions of times per second to try and achieve, right? So the first section shows the pool name, block height, the job type. In this case, the job type's listed as existing template update, right? So that just means the pool has refreshed the block template with the new transactions or a new timestamp. Okay, so you'll also get the version number, difficulty target known as n bits, and the timestamp n time. These fields form part of the block header, and they're critical, right? Because miners must hash this header repeatedly until they find a valid block. Okay, so next we reach the previous block hash, which basically anchors this template to the current tip of the blockchain. Now, this ensures miners are building on the correct chain. Below that is the script SIG analysis. Now, this basically breaks down the Coinbase transaction. So the very first transaction in every block. Now, this is where the block reward is created. So Parasite, unlike a lot of the pools, exposes everything here. So the block height encoded via BIP34, the extra nonce fields, okay, the ASC2 tag. Now, the extra nonce is split into two parts, extra nonce 1, okay, and extra nonce 2, controlled by the miner. Now, together, guys, these give miners huge search space, to generate unique hashes, okay? So the ASC2 tag is particularly interesting because Parasite embeds its signature directly into the Coinbase, which is a transparent way of making or marking the block, I should say, as mined through their pool. Now, as we scroll further, we've reached the outputs analysis, which shows exactly how the block reward is being distributed. So this is where Parasite's unique payout model becomes visible. Okay, so basically, output 0 is a full 1 BTC sent directly to the block finder. This is that finder's fee we talked about in the previous episode. So this is the lottery style bonus Parasite is known for. Okay, so output 1. Now that sends the remaining 2.148 BTC plus fees to a Lightning payout address, which the pool then uses to distribute proportional rewards to all other contributing miners. Okay, and then there's a third output, an op return data output, which typically contains just metadata or internal pool information, right? So nothing major there. The key point here is that Parasite isn't asking miners to trust a custodial balance, guys. That is key. The payout logic is encoded directly into the block itself. Parasite Pool will not hold payments or payouts on behalf of miners, then distribute them. Okay, again, it's encoded directly to the block itself. The payouts go directly to the miners, and you can verify that all right here. Okay, so finally below that, now I know this might seem complicated at first, but it's straightforward to get your head around once you begin to understand it. Okay, so what we're looking at here is the Merkle branches section. Now, this is a visual breakdown of how the Coinbase transaction is combined with the rest of the block's transactions to form the Merkle root. So each branch basically represents a hash, okay, that pairs with the Coinbase to build the tree step by step. Okay, so you notice that stair-step pattern. Now, the structure proves that all transactions are included without revealing the entire list. Okay, most pools never show this publicly, right? But Parasite exposes the full Merkle path, which allows everyone and anyone to verify that the block is being constructed honestly and without censorship. So again, that is so key. I can't overstate the importance of that enough. It is a powerful demonstration of transparency, right? So you can literally audit the block template in real time. Okay, and then Finally, at the end of the bottom of the page, we've got the raw Stratum Message. Okay, so this is the exact job that miners receive, right? It's the data packet that tells the ASICs, so whatever you've got, FutureBit, BitAx, NerdAx, Bitmain Antminer, okay, Seal Miner, whatever it is. Okay, so it tells the miners what to hash. It includes the block header. Okay, we've got the Merkle root, the extra nonce fields, and the job ID. Now, this is like the low-level protocol, basically, that connects miners to the pool. Okay, so by exposing the full Stratum message, Parasite is showing miners precisely what they're hashing. Okay, with no hidden logic or let's call it opaque manipulation. Let's go back to that phrase I used in episode 1 of this 3-part series, which was it's not hidden behind any kind of black box, right? Or any curtain or any kind of veil. It's a level of openness that aligns perfectly with Bitcoin's decentralized ethos. Okay, it's one of the reasons why Parasite stands out as a genuinely miner-friendly pool. So, that is Parasite's block template construction page. Again, you probably won't find this on any other mining pool. And if you really are interested in solo mining, you like Parasite's unique hybrid payout structure, you believe that Parasite aligns with your idea of what decentralized mining should look like, okay, I think this is definitely the pool for you. Now, next up, we're going to have a look at basically Stratum work, so this kind of tab here, which I understand to begin with is going to look extremely overwhelming, but I'm going to break down exactly what this means and exactly why it really helps us lift that kind of veil of mysticism almost, and uncertainty behind, what's going on with all these pools. How are they finding these blocks? What's the work involved? Well, Stratum.work, again, you can view this website yourself, is really going to help us do that. So massively powerful and interesting. That's coming up next. Okay, guys. Now, as we scroll through Stratum.work, right, what you're looking at here is one of the most transparent and technically revealing windows into Bitcoin mining that exists anywhere online, okay? So this site listens to the live Stratum protocol traffic from the dozens of mining pools, right, and displays their block templates side by side in real time. Okay, you can see it all updating again in real time. Now, every row that you see here, all of these, represents a different pool's attempt to construct the next Bitcoin block, right? So they're all competing on the same block height, but each one builds its own version of that block, okay, like its own template. It's got its own Coinbase transaction, its own payout structure, its own transaction set, and its own Merkle tree. So this is the global mining race. You could think of it like that. That's like, you can visualize that in a way that most miners never get to see, right? So as we move down the list, I mean, you'll notice the Coinbase tags embedded inside each pool's template. So these little ASC2 signatures, so things like Parasite, via BTC, what else? You've got powered by Luxor there, etc. They're effectively the miner's watermarks. You'll also see the Coinbase transaction hash. Okay. The timestamp the pool is proposing, and the extra nonce fields that the miners use to generate unique hashes. Now, these values differ from pool to pool, right? Because obviously each operator, they're constructing their own block template independently, yeah? With their own set of rules and, what transactions they may want to include and what transactions they may want to exclude and all that. Okay? And, this is the fascinating part of the page. Is like the Merkle branches. So you've got the long columns here, labeled Merkle 0, Merkle 1, Merkle 2, and so on. Now, these are the cryptographic proofs that link the Coinbase transaction to the Merkle root, guys. Okay, so each pool selects its own transactions from the mempool. Again, that's done with their templates that will be, I suppose, compiled by their node. Okay. And that's why the hashes vary so much between pools, right? So by comparing the branches, you can actually detect differences in transaction selection. okay, like fee policies and even censorship behavior, right? So like pools, like we said in the previous episode, Ocean and Parasite tend to be very transparent here, while others reveal patterns that hint at filtering or like template manipulation, basically. Okay. Then finally, on the far right, I mean, you'll see the payouts for each pool. Okay. And this is where you can literally see how each pool, distributes the block rewards. So Parasite, for example, okay, they obviously encode its own 1 BTC block finder bonus directly into the Coinbase output. Okay, followed by the proportional payout amount. Other pools send the entire reward to a single custodial address. And this is one of the clearest ways to compare decentralization in practice, right? So some pools build blocks in a way that empowers miners, while others centralize control and custody. And Stratum.work exposes this all in real time, right? So it gives us a rare, unfiltered look at how Bitcoin's mining layer actually operates under the hood. And again, you've got all the previous blocks here. And if we were to hit those, you can then go into even more detail, guys. Okay, so time to first template. You've got all the pools listed there. Pool name, the height, Coinbase script, first transaction, etc., etc. We can go on. There's so much detail here. Okay, but I think I've made the point. There's something that's really interesting if you want to have a deeper look at this in your own time. Okay, guys, now I just wanted to bring your attention to this really great article here on the BitcoinManual.com articles/Parasite Pool, right? So this is probably the best rundown and breakdown of what Parasite Pool is, what it does, and how it works, and basically why that's a good thing. So if you've got the time, I would navigate to this link at the end of the video. Once you've finished watching, give this a quick read. Educate yourself a bit more on Parasite Pool to really understand why it is such a good idea moving forward with decentralization of Bitcoin mining in mind, right? So we'll just do a really brief read through. I'll give you the introduction and this little bit here, then you guys can go on and read the rest from there. So as it says, the Bitcoin mining landscape is experiencing a quiet revolution this cycle, while corporate miners consolidate around predictable payout models. Counterculture of pleb miners is emerging with the help of open source mining project hobbyists running nerd miners, nerd axes, and BitX miners next to their Raspberry Pi nodes. Enthusiasts heating their homes with ASICs, and privacy conscious Bitcoiners earning KYC free sats. Now, the hash rate many of these lottery miners generate is minuscule, especially as we enter the 1 zettahash era, so that just means 1000 exahash. So miners have had to choose to try and play in larger pools, which we discussed earlier in the video, where they could stack drip sats, hoping to reach the minimum payout threshold, or go full degen and lottery mine with solo pool. So into this movement steps Parasite Pool, a new mining pool with an unconventional payout model that turns traditional mining economics on its head, like we've said throughout the video, with a simple philosophy, plebs eat first. So founded by ZK Shark, creator of Ordinal Maxi Beers, Parasite Pool joins a growing league of cottage industry Bitcoin mining startups, challenging the industry status quo in a way. But what makes Parasite Pool different isn't just its zero fee structure, that's just the initial incentive to get users contribute hash rate, and it can't sustain itself as a model. The primary difference in Parasite Pool is its approach to mining reward distribution, designed specifically to attract small miners, i.e. BitX, etc., while solving real problems plaguing the industry. Okay, so then it goes on in detail to lay out what those are. Understanding Bitcoin mining pool payout methods. Before we dive into what makes Parasite Pool different from the other pool payout systems, let's look at the various payout methods used by mining pool. So full paper share, or FPPS, the corporate favorite. Full paper share has become the dominant payout structure in Bitcoin mining, and for good reason. From a miner's perspective, in full paper share, miners receive consistent payouts for every share they submit to a pool, regardless of whether the pool actually finds a block. The pool essentially acts as a treasury, absorbing all the variance and statistical uncertainty of block discovery. That's a really important point, guys, because these massive pools like Foundry and Ant Pool and F2 Pool, they absorb that statistical uncertainty. They don't know that they're going to find a block every, n minutes or n hours or n days, right? They're just relying on their hash rate in relation to the total network hash rate as a guide. And then what they have to do if they don't hit a block is they use what gets contributed from the fees. Like it says here, pools typically charge 2 to 4% fees to maintain the treasury needed to smooth out variance, right? Let's just go back a bit. So think of it like this. Bitcoin block discovery is probabilistic. A pool with 1% of the network hash rate should find one block every 100 blocks on average, right? So that makes sense, yeah? But that's just the statistics. They might find 2 blocks back to back or go 300 blocks without finding one. Full paper share shields individual miners from this variance by paying them predictably based on their contract hash rate. For large-scale mining operations with monthly expenses like power bills, staff salaries, and loan payments, this predictability is invaluable, so you understand why it's so popular, right? However, full paper share comes with significant downsides. Pools typically charge 2 to 4% fees to maintain the treasury needed to smooth out variance. More critically, full paper share has centralizing effects on the Bitcoin network, concentrating hash rate in the hands of a few large pools that can afford to manage this variance. And that's one of the problems that we're coming up against at the moment. Parasite Pool is trying to solve, right? Paper last end shares, or PPLNS, the traditional alternative. PPLNS takes a different approach. Instead of guaranteeing payment for every share, PPLNS only pays out when the pool actually finds a block. The reward is then distributed among miners who contribute shares within the recent window, typically the last 1 million shares or shares from the past 24 hours. This model eliminates the need for pools to maintain large treasuries and typically comes with lower or zero fees. However, it exposes miners to significant variance. If you're a small miner who contributes shares, but the pool goes through a dry spell and doesn't find a block for weeks, you receive nothing during that period. The feast or famine nature of PPLNS makes it challenging for miners who depend on consistent revenue to cover operational costs, right? So that's kind of the two main payout methods there. Now, where Parasite Pool comes in is kind of here, but it does diverge. So solo lottery mining at the opposite extreme from FPPS sits solo lottery mining. In this model, individual miners or small groups compete to find blocks on their own. If you find a block, you receive a block reward plus fees. Today's price is worth $300,000. If you don't find a block, you receive nothing. For most hobbyist miners, solo mining is effectively playing the lottery. Single BitX miner producing a few hundred gigahashes per second would take centuries on average to find a block. Despite the astronomical odds, solo mining has gained popularity in the paper mining movement as an ideological statement against centralization and for the sheer thrill of potentially hitting the jackpot, right? Now, with that historical context in mind for payout methods, then we move on to what Parasite Pool, why it's so innovative. So, plebs eat first. So, Parasite Pool's payout structure is elegantly simple, yet revolutionary. When the pool finds a block, the worker that mined the block receives 1 BTC in. The remaining mining reward is distributed proportionally among all pool participants based on their contributed shares since the pool's last block. Let's unpack why this matters. The 1 BTC finder's fee preserves the lottery excitement and massive payday potential that makes solo mining attractive to hobbyists. If you're running a few BitX miners in your home office, there's still that possibility of waking up to 1 BTC in your wallet, a life-changing sum for. Unlike pure solo mining, you're not left with nothing. If someone else finds that block, you still receive a proportional share of the remaining 2.125 BTC based on your contributed hash rates. This is so different, guys. The hybrid approach means pleb miners can maintain economic viability and make that point while still having lottery upside, right? So, yeah, technical structure says there, EPLNS without the window. From a technical perspective, Parasite Pool operates similarly to PPLNS, but with a crucial difference. Traditional PPLNS pools use a rolling window. They might count only the last 1 million shares or shares from the past day. However, Parasite Pool instead includes all cumulative shares contributed. Right. This means if you start mining on Parasite Pool today and the pool finds a block 6 months from now, shares from today will still count towards your payout allocation. Okay, so that's a real quick roundup of like the payout structure with Parasite Pool in details guide, but take your own time to read through this, because it's really a treasure trove, okay, for Parasite Pool, and why you should mine with them if you are deep into solo mining and you want to take that gamble, but maybe still come out some kind of little payout, however tiny it is, if it's not your worker, which is likely, that mines that block, right? And then you've got a few little bits down here, the broader context, why this helps with mining decentralization, looking forward, the survival of Parasite Pool, and a pool for the pleb mining environment. So have a look at that in your own time. Okay, guys, so just a bit more of a deep dive now into Parasite Pool and both the payout structure from Parasite Pool and also when potentially we could expect to see another block mined by Parasite. Okay, so if we look at the block that they found, which was block 938713 on February the 28th, 2026 at 11:42 a.m., which at the moment, time recording, March 24th is 24 days ago, right? So here we are. This block is the one that was mined by Parasite, and we can see the payout structure working perfectly here. If we scroll down, you've got the 2.142 BTC, obviously 2.125 plus fees, and then the 1 BTC finder's fee to the worker that actually found the block, which was paid to this address here. And if we just look at the address from this tab, you can quite clearly see it's got a confirmed balance of 1 BTC. So they're still holding that. 71,000 is its current value. Okay, not bad, right? If you committed to Parasite Pool, and although we can't tell the hash rate of the worker that actually mined the block, it's likely that it's not a great amount of hash rate, right? Maybe we could guess anywhere between 1 and 50 terahash, maybe, if you're dedicated mining to a effective solo mining pool like Parasite, right? Which is not a bad return, okay, in terms of what that equipment would cost to purchase to get up and running. Now, like I said, we can still see the confirmed balance is 1 BTC, so they're holding that for the moment, and that just proves the payout structure is working perfectly, right? And then if we look at when Parasite might actually find another block, okay, so what we're going to use to calculate that, got the calculator ready here. The 1 week hash rate for the Bitcoin network, as it says here, is 974.9 exahash. Okay, and if we go to Parasite Pool, and what we're going to try and look at is the 7-day moving average for Parasite Pool's hash rate, right? So go back, what we're on the 24th, so 17, that's 7 days. So if we look at 7 day, let's call it 80, right? So it's hovering around 80. You can see the numbers moving there where it says 70 average, 78, 79, 80, right? So I'm going to call it 80. We've got the calculation ready on the calculator here to go. What we're going to do is 80, then divided by 974,900, which is basically a representation of this value here. Okay, we're going to hit enter. Now that gives us that. What we're going to do is multiply it by the amount of blocks produced today, which on average is 144 blocks. Okay. Now that gives us a value of 0.011. Now, to obtain the value in days of when Parasite Pool might next mine a block, what we're just going to do, copy that value, press C to go to 0. We're going to put in 1, and we're going to divide by that value, and then hey presto, there we go. So using these values at the moment, it's going to be 84.6 days until potentially Parasite Pool would next mine a block. Okay, and again, that's based on using the 7-day average. Let's say it's 80 petahash, and the current 7-day average for the entire Bitcoin network, which is 975, 974.9, let's round it up. And therefore, based on that, you get 84.6 days, or round it up to 85 days. Now, because of the random variance of the network, it could be below that, and it could be over it. It could be just under, it could be well under, it could be just over, or it could be well over. So 85 days is a mathematically grounded estimate. But again, because of the variance, it could differ from that. Okay, but if you are on Parasite Pool, or you're interested in mining, solar mining, we should say on Parasite Pool, then 85 days between each block at the moment isn't a bad chance to kind of test whether your miner would be that worker which mines the block. And here's the rub. If you do, obviously, you'll get the 1 BTC finder's fee, but even if you don't, you will be rewarded with a payout based on the amount of work that's been contributed towards that block. Okay, so I hope that all made sense, and you can kind of do those calculations yourself by following what we did on the calculator, just by rewinding the video, pause it, go through the steps as well. Okay, so hope that was helpful insight into when Parasite Pool may next find another block. Okay guys, so finally we're going to come to the fun part, which is connecting your miner to Parasite Pool. So this is super easy. You can probably see it already. Just hit connect in the top right hand corner. Now that will bring up this window here. So you've got two choices. It says choose your setup with Xverse wallet or direct mining. We're going to do direct mining. Okay, so it says have your BTC address ready, continue below. Connect your Bitcoin miner and go to the pool settings tab, right? So that's simply, if we go to AXOS for our BitAx here, that is what it's referring to. So pool is down here, Stratum host, and then Stratum port is what we're going to need. If we just go back to Parasite page, it says Stratum URL, Parasite.WTF, right? So let's just highlight that. We're going to copy. We're going to input that instead of umbral.local. Okay, and then we'll go back to get the port, 42069. We're going to paste that in there. Fantastic, right? And then, like it says here, depending on your miner, it looks something like this, Parasite.WTF 4069. So we've got our Stratum setting there. And then we've already set the username using the BTC address and the worker name there. And then we're going to save the configuration and restart if needed. So let's do that now. I'm going to save. And yep, look what it says. You must restart this device after saving for changes to take effect. Let's do that now. Let's restart our device restarted. Okay. Now, as it says here, once your miner is up and running, head to your account page to see your stats. You can either put your BTC address in the search bar or press the account button on the connect menu item. So that's what we're going to do now. So if we just do close, and if we look at this screen here, guys, back in AXOS now, down here at the pool settings, you can clearly see the URL is set to Parasite.WTF pool port 4269. So we know for a fact it's connected and hashing to Parasite Pool, right? So if we next go back to Parasite page and we look at this, all we've done is enter the BTC wallet address into here, hit the icon, and up pops this page, right? So you've got your BTC address there. You've got the hash rate, your best difficulty, total work, and your achievement. Your total work is what would be used to calculate your payout when they do next hit a block. And you've got hash rate and difficulty chart. So you can clearly see here, the grey line is your hash rate that you've contributed. And the best difficulty, as you can see, is there as well. You've got your miner name, your hash rate, your best difficulty, and the last submission, which for us was 1 minute ago. So that's how you connect your miner to Parasite Pool within 2 minutes. Super easy, and some detail on there for you to pick out what the miner's achieved, the best difficulty, the hash rate, and your total work. And you can constantly keep going back to this for reference. So that's how you connect your miner to Parasite Pool. Okay guys, so I've come back to Parasite stats page just to check after we've had a short amount of time elapse since we last checked, and you can clearly see obviously the data has been updated. We've got some decent amount of data points here. Okay, so continue with hash rate. You're getting updated every 5 minutes, which is great. And you've clearly got the red dots here, which is the best difficulty that's been achieved by your miners. We've got 636k, 634k, 1.35 million, 10 million, 7 million, etc., etc. You get the idea. So this is really handy, right? Because you've got a constant update of the difficulties that are achieved by your miners. So you really can see where it's at in terms of trying to hit or be the worker that will hit that block, right? However unlikely that may be, you'll at least see how close you would get to it. So again, you've got your hash rate here for your miners that are pointing to Parasite, which are assigned to your Bitcoin address, best difficulty, and the total amount of work that you've contributed to Parasite so far, which is important because that's partly what you'll get paid upon when the pool does hit a block. And then if we just look further down a little bit, you've got round stats now. We didn't have that before. So block, it's current. Your difficulty rank, 1,829 out of 2,103. Top difficulty, it pinpoints it there, 10.1 million, which is great. Blocks rank, you've got 1,745 or 1,745 out of 2,103. And you've been contributing to Parasite Pool for 47 blocks. So how helpful is that? I think it's definitely a step forward in improving transparency on part of a pool. There isn't many other pools that you'll get this level of detail and information with. Certainly something that you should be looking to make the most of in terms of insights into your miners' activity when you're contributing to Parasite Pool. So that was the stats page for your miner attached to Parasite Pool. Really hope you enjoyed that episode, guys. If you've got any questions or suggestions, leave them in the comments below or hit me up on X. I'm always on there. Thanks for watching. Until the next episode, stay ahead, stay decentralized. Bye for now. Okay, guys, so just a short segment now to round off this video really briefly. And we're going to look at Founding50. So what's that? Now, if you're lucky enough to be watching this video before the 30th of April 2026, there's still time to get in, guys, okay? The first 50 Patreon subscribers will receive exclusive benefits that no other Patreon member will receive access to. Remember, the Kerner Bitcoin Patreon model is capped at 1,000 spaces. So if you are lucky enough to be one of the first to sign up, no one else will ever have this apart from the first 50 patrons. Now we've got a clear list here, guys. It's a phenomenal value proposition. You don't even have to go on to one of the higher tiers. You can start at Alchemist at $15 and then work your way up from there if you want to. Now, the jewel in the crown of the benefits, guys, is our private sovereign solo mining pool. Now, it's going to be 0% fees. Okay, full block reward shared, It is true decentralized solo mining. This is decentralized as you can get, pretty much. Now, we're going to have our own mining backend that handles this. Your credentials will be tier gated through Patreon. That's what you'll use to connect to the mining pool. So it means only 50 people can ever connect to this solo mining pool. Okay, if that wasn't enough, you're going to have 10 bonus UTXO metrics, 10 bonus Bitcoin price metrics. You're going to get exclusive Founding50 merch pack. So a Kerner Bitcoin sticker set, a branded Kerner Bitcoin coin, only 50 will be issued. You'll get early beta test access to any workbooks, any data drops moving forward. You guys will be the one and only members to get early access. You're also going to get a unique Founding50 Discord badge and channel as well, as you can clearly see here. Founding50 patrons, and for the solo mining pool, exclusive access to this channel only. No other member for our Patreon model will have access to these two channels, just you guys. Okay, you'll also get priority voting rights. You can shape the future path for Kerner Bitcoin, help us in our decisions moving forward. You'll also get your name on a wall of honor in the credits on our videos as a scrolling montage. So again, just incredible value for money here, guys. As it says, perks are a lifetime lockout. Hold them forever. No other Patreon member will ever get these. Again, sign up today, secure your spot for the Founding50, and let's go on this journey together.